there are many problems that Russia is facing, and this demographic disaster is unevenly spread when it comes to the ethnic groups in Russia. The various Turkic speaking groups that live in Siberia, for example, they still have higher nativity than the Russians do. The same goes for all Muslim groups that are from the Caucasus, so the Dagestanis, the Chechens, the Ingush, they also have higher nativity. And also there has been a lot of migration to Russia from various Muslim peoples of the former Soviet Union, so Kyrgyz, Tajik, Kazakhs, and so on. And many of them have settled in Russia, have even received citizenship, and they also have higher nativity. So now, just a few days ago, a conflict broke out. There is a mosque being built in Moscow on territory which by some Russian Orthodox Christians is believed to be holy. So giant protests against this erupted, and this conflict has spread. Now there are these videos that are being produced by Russian troops in Ukraine, where you have 10 or 12 Russian soldiers saying that we as Christians object to this construction of the mosque on our holy ground. And at the same time you have videos released by Chechen fighters who say that we will support our Muslim brothers and we will take to the streets if necessary, and so on. So there are ethnic conflicts within the Russian Federation. The Ukrainians are naturally prone to try to enlarge these internal conflicts as much as possible. And the Polish Prometheus project officially ended in the mid-1930s. But who knows what the Polish military intelligence is up to right now. If it wouldn't be a far-fetched guess that the Poles are also doing what they can to create division within. So whether Russia will collapse or survive, yeah, the question is very interesting. What will happen at the end of the war? Say that the Ukrainians are able to launch a counteroffensive in 1, 2, or 3 stages that ends with retaking Crimea and with pushing the Russians out of the remaining parts of Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, and Lugansk. Once they reach the Russian border, what happens then? There are really 2 or 3 alternatives. It could be a moment in which the Russians admit their failure and they start peace negotiations based on that. The war could continue, and here is a very uncomfortable question to ask for many Western powers. Would Ukrainian troops, because technically, for example, during the Second World War, the Red Army didn't stop when they reached the pre-war Soviet border, so to say. They went all the way to Berlin. Would Ukrainian troops would be willing to take the fight to Russian territory? Would they cross it? Naturally, in Russia's military doctrine, there is the right to use nuclear weapons in the defense of their own territory. But at the same time, with the annexation of these 4 regions of Ukraine, technically Kherson, Zaporizhia are in the eyes of the Russian state just as much Russian territory as Moscow or St. Petersburg. But that didn't create a situation in which they use nuclear weapons when they lost control of the city of Kherson, for example. So it could also be that the Ukrainians, they will not cross the border with Russia, but that the war will continue, that the Russians will launch additional attacks, that they will continue to try to take Ukrainian territory. That is also a possibility. But if we look at peace negotiations, well, in that case, it would be for the Russians the only thing that would be left to negotiate about, because there would be no territorial changes, would be reparations for Ukraine, for Russian war criminals to face charges. Naturally, the personal position of Vladimir Putin would be very interesting to see what demands the Ukrainian side would put forward in such a scenario. And
Adam, as usual, the clock has defeated us, so I'm going to have to ask you to pause there, but we will pick it up next time. There we are. I've had to interrupt Adam almost in mid-sentence, but fear not, if you join us next time on Poland Daily History, as we hope you will, we'll pick up the story. Until then, thank you for watching.